It's hard to understand the way that you went out. I bet you're living with a little hint of doubt. Maybe next time when you gotta show your hand, you won't cut and run, you'll finally make a stand. 'Cause I know it's true, I'm finally getting to you. We're not through. Yeah, I know it's true, I'm finally getting to you. Existential questions always get you down. All you want to know is are we lost or found? Is there something that you feel you need to chase? I bet you thought you'd put me in my place. 'Cause I know it's true, I'm finally getting to you. We're not through. I know it's true, I'm finally getting to you. Yeah, I know it's true, I'm finally getting to you. We're not through. Yeah, I know it's true, I'm finally getting to you. You can run, you can hide, but inside, I'm finally getting to you. Yes, it's true. I still love you, but I am getting to you.
Stand by to initiate release sequencer. On my mark. 5,
We're on express elevator to hell. Going down.
2, 1. Mark.
Welcome back to the Resupply with me, Guy Next Door.
Me, grayed out DK.
And me, fan.
I think they call that a gradient. Bring you your weekly double tap, semi-regular double tap of all things Space Marines and Laserforce. Very nice to see everyone. What is up, Denny's? Oh, love you, Denny's. This guy, man, I'm feeling a little bit hungover today, which is dumb because I'm not hungover. I didn't get the
Are
cool.
you sure?
Yeah. Pretty sure.
Are you positive?
Yeah, I didn't get the cool, fun being drunk part. I just got the dumb, blurry eyes, headache. Need several cups of coffee. I think I'm about to cry.
Oh my.
Anyway, let's try that again. Hi guys. How you doing? Nice to see you.
Apparently, we're doing better than you are. Like this we're off to a flying start today.
Oh man. Sometimes you just gotta start slow and ease into the day.
I would say my coffee experience was less emotional than that today, but you do you, friend. I'm not gonna say it's never like that. Some days it definitely be like that.
For once, it's a triple shot. Yeah, man. Good. How's the week been? I can't believe we've managed to... Wait, did we do a show last week? We did do a show. I can't believe we've managed to do concurrent shows.
Back-to-back weeks. Wow.
That's ridiculous. What is
We really
this?
are giving that weekly double tap of all things Space Marines and Laser Force related.
Or whatever it is that Steve makes
I
up.
almost remembered our whole
Yeah.
tagline. That's amazing.
It's almost like there's a semblance of professionalism here.
Yep.
It's
East
only
Coast
a
tournament is going to be July 12th or 16th. No, January. I said
July? You
January.
dumb-
January
dumb-
12th or 16th.
You
Oh,
dumb
that's
motherfucker.
brilliant.
Syracuse, New York.
Oh,
I had it prepped at the wrong time and everything.
out the gates early today, gentlemen. I'm loving the vibe. Speaking of loving the vibe, guess who got to play a little bit of laser tag this week? Spoiler alert, it was me. I got to play
Sure as
some
fuck
laser
was
tag.
me. So go ahead and
Yeah.
run in.
Sure as fuck wasn't me either. So
Didn't get to play any SM5 this week though, which is which is fine, I guess. But we had some new players that made the journey. I don't, for anyone that's local, if you know where Helensville is, in relation to where Auckland Laser Force is, that's where they traveled from.
I mean, that's a little bit of a hike. So you know.
Yeah, I think it's about. I mean, I say close to an hour. Maybe it's not quite an hour, but it
Depends upon traffic.
Yeah, it's far enough anyway.
An hour. Well, Laser's is well worth an hour.
Yeah.
I'd do an hour a week if I had to.
Well, I mean, it feels like in some instances there's a bunch of people that travel that time to do, you know, everyday things like work. Didn't you used to do that in Texas then?
Fortunately, no.
Oh.
Like I would now. To be fair on that, I was extraordinarily lucky when I was living in Texas that my commute was never longer than about like 25 to 30 minutes, except that time when it snowed and it took me 2 hours to get from home to the office because that was before the days of being able to work from home. So that was
The Dark Ages.
The Dark
Yeah.
Ages for sure. But yeah, no, I was very very fortunate in that regard. We did have people in the office that had an hour and a half commutes because they were coming from like across the other side of town to get to the office that we worked at. And if you were coming from the east side of DFW, there was no good way to get to the office. You had to like go someplace else and start over. So yeah.
That's
I'm
been
so sick of you West Side pig jockeys talking about how we have to commute so far.
That's been Commuter Corner here for this week. No, it was cool though. We got to play a bunch of Space Marines 4, which I don't know. I really enjoyed playing SM4.
It's fun. It's a fun game.
Yeah, fun game. Play a little bit of D&D, bit of laser ball, bit of color conquest, bit of everything. A smorgasbord, if you will. And yeah, it was fun. It was a fun night, and especially after my tantrum the week before, it was a nice thing to kind of ease back into. Although I think part of my frustration is I feel mentally slower at the moment, and evidence of this was I in the downstairs mazy area of our maze. I, for some reason, just was from a standstill, immediately ran to my right and smashed into a wall and fucked my hand up. So that was cool. I don't think I've really done that before. It was such a stupid thing. I know my maze pretty well.
I would hope so at this point.
It was just really dumb stuff. So hopefully I can avoid doing that in the future. But how was the week, boys? Was it good? Did you have a good week?
I mean, it was a week. I will say my usual work bullshit is still work bullshit and leave it at that because nobody wants to hear about corporate America bullshit at work. Least I mean it's
You don't even want to hear about it, really.
no. Actually, I did get to do something this week that I have not actually gotten to do at work in quite some time. I did actually get to send a genuine "fuck you, you're an idiot" email to somebody.
Really?
Professionally, of course.
Yeah.
But had someone decide that they wanted to twist something that they had been told on a call into something that was not anywhere related to what they had been told, and they put the email out to their manager and me, left my bosses off of it, and basically had this lie in it. So
Why
there
would
was
people lie in email? That's the stupidest thing. There's a
It's-
literal paper trace.
yeah, it was
Well,
it
not
was
You
it was,
literal.
taking notes on a goddamn criminal conspiracy right now?
it was literally one of those things where the email came in and I'm reading it and I'm like, I can't actually fucking believe that you put that in writing the way that you did. So now that you've put it in writing the way that you have, I need to call you out like the fucking moron that you are.
I like how you said have to and not get to. I get to call you out. Yeah.
I mean, it was both. I had to, because he was making representations about timelines that were not accurate, and I got to. It was great.
So does the apostrophe go before or after the S? And for fuck's sake, I want this email to sound professional.
So a fan fuck count.
Yeah, so that, and anybody else who works in any sort of corporate job, like, that is one of the great joys when you do get to straight up call somebody out for being a fucking idiot. And you get to have your bosses CC'd on the email say, this is exactly why I'm calling this person out for being a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
That's brilliant. What's up, Vaden? Just doing your general hello, you fine looking champs. Look at it. That's right. So we're rolling.
So, other than that, the week was but that was fun.
Well, that's good. We're still kicking. Is what's happening. I assume DK, you had a great week. Just living your best life.
My week was fine.
Cool.
Nothing wrong with that either way. Let's bring in our guest. Who wants to hear me talk? I'm just an NPC on this show anyway.
That's a great segue. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, we're gonna welcome in a legend of East Coast Laserforce, a world champ, former world champ. That's the way to put it. Former world champ. Former Space Marines 5 world champ. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our good friend, Reya. Good morning, Reya. Or evening.
Hello.
Everyone. How the heck are you?
Oh, I'm fantastic. I want to give the viewer some context on why DK is sad. So, in our little pre-show world where we're testing all the audio equipment, Steve had forgotten or did something that allowed me to not hear Than and DK talk to me like at all for like 15 minutes. And it was very funny. DK thought that I was ignoring him, which I might have if I did hear him, but he was being ignored, not on purpose. So
I thought I might have been in the Sixth Sense, but I've had my suspicions for a few years at this point.
It was kind of like, well, it's bad radio, as evidence just then, to talk over your guest, and and DK was doing it, but you were doing a great job of just ignoring him, and I was like, perfect.
You get into a habit of knowing how to do that when talking to men.
So she's just like everyone else.
I noticed that I had checked the box. I found the issue, so I'll put it on record just in case we have the issue again. But there's a little check box that says guests hear others, and that was not checked. So I fixed that, and we're just out here tech supporting. But it's very nice.
Descriptive box. It's a good descriptive box right there.
Yeah, does what it says on the box.
Exactly what it says.
Yeah,
it's a great box. We can mute DK at any time.
Boop.
spam in the chat if you want to not hear DK.
Yeah, at least 1,000 bits, and yeah, we can. No. But how's things? Obviously, you're fresh off Nats 2024. We thought we'd get you on, and I mean, we like talking to you anyway. But before we get into that though, I just want to say a very, very happy birthday for yesterday. I hope it was a good one.
Thank you.
Yeah, September birthdays represent
34 Libra gangs in the chat.
What was 9 months ago that parents would have been celebrating?
I don't know, winter. People be talking in the winter.
Isolation. I don't know.
But-
Like
Yeah.
keeping warm.
Yeah, January. They were
Being good Christians and increasing the population. Like I don't know.
What? Wait. So if it's September, that's 9 months. Yeah. New Year's. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh,
New
yeah,
Year's Eve. Yeah.
Who knows? You never know if you're gonna make it to the next year.
That's right. You
Yep.
never do.
This has been the Making You Picture Your Parents Fuck podcast. Have a good night, everybody.
I was born in April. Nothing going on. Oh, Halloween, I guess. I don't know. I don't know if that math checks out.
Nope, it's canon at this point. Explains everything. Why is Steve so weird? Well, I was conceived on Halloween.
On Halloween.
It was weird things.
That was a real crazy night. Anyway, yeah, how was your birthday? What'd you get up to?
It was good. I had to work and go to school, so I wasn't gonna vastly change my everything because I wasn't gonna skip school. I could have skipped work, but that I still would have just been doing work anyway.
Yeah.
So I took today off, and then so last night I just kind of went out with my friends, got a little silly, and woke up feeling, relatively bad.
Okay. Amen.
You woke up so hungover that even Steve was hungover. Let the record show she made the drinky motion.
I will say I did have 3 shots of Fireball last night. I thought of you every single time, DK.
That's my girl.
Damn it, I've got sympathy hangover. That sucks. Some bullshit. Well, yeah, happy birthday. I'm glad it sounds like a pretty decent one. Let's talk lasers, because, it's the thing that we all love, apparently.
It is what the podcast is about, so...
Wow.
Sometimes.
Wow.
Theoretically.
Yeah, loosely. Well, I guess we'll start here. How was Nats for you? How did it go to the
I always have fun when I go to nationals. Like I said in Luke's intro little profile things, it's a family reunion for me. I get to see all of my good friends, and it started out as wanting to compete and play a game that I love, but now it's become more of getting back together with the homies once a year, and that's great, and I love that. I love being around everybody, love the energy. But getting zero pointed is never fun.
It is not.
This would be the first time I've been in a tournament situation where my team has won no games.
Welcome to the
no
club.
games. And that feels bad. But I really enjoyed playing with my team. A lot of good eggs, a lot of people that I've played with before or have known for a long time and haven't played with before. And it was just overall enjoyable. And I don't think I have to say anything about Disco Stu.
The best.
I've been mentored by Stu for the last better part of a decade. So playing with him just is easy. Christine, love Christine's energy. I've been playing with the Syracuse bunch for a really long time as well. And, she's just firecracker. She just was having some mobility issues. Same with Stu, but she was never well, we're losing. It was always just she's always just super hyped up and ready to be doing something, and that's really all I wanted. And then Lucas and Lizzie were two of my little newbies. I didn't forget about Vanessa. I'll get to her in a second.
Well, she's not a newbie. She doesn't.
I know, but
the newbie section of the pod.
Yeah. So Lizzie and Lucas. So Lucas, I guess, has been playing there for a little bit. A little firecracker, but he, was very passionate about the game and very much like wanted to do well despite us not doing well. And you can't take that away from anybody. So I was really like happy that he at least like cared to a point. And then Lizzie, that girl's going places.
Lizzie,
first, kids.
Lizzie motherfucking Lizard. It is one, the coolest gal I've ever met, and two, picked up that game like she's been playing it for like her entire life. And she's a predominantly laser ball player, so she runs, I want to say, UC Boulder's like Pancakes and Laser Tag Club, and she's the president. And they play like laser ball, like I think like once or twice a month, and they get breakfast. And I'm in their Discord, so I see them. I lurk all the time. But she is just has the best energy. Never came out of the games mad. Was always happy that we made even the slightest bit of improvements in the game.
Yep.
And like that's all you can ask for from a new player or any player really. Like she just was so happy to be involved, and I loved that, and I loved hanging out with her, and it was really great playing with her over the week.
We I think we heard a lot of like really good things about her specifically, just attitude wise and
yeah.
And
she only had like, I don't know, 50 something games of Space Marines by the time that she got there, if that,
something like that. Yeah.
And like she clicked with Stu like pretty much the entire time, and like that was an awesome sight to see. And she's going to be really good. Like awesome. She is. Like, I have no doubt that the Lovelanders are going to build her up because I saw it, and we were at the bottom, like, and I could see where her ceiling is, and it's up there. So I'm excited to see good things from her.
If they had like a uni team, would they have to take on the name? Are they the Buffaloes there?
Yep.
Yeah. Is that how that works? Is if they started a uni club, they'd have to be the Buffaloes? Sure.
I don't know.
Let's go yes.
I don't know.
Sure.
It's the rules.
I mean, if I had to like compare that scenario to anything, I would compare it to the way in which we kind of dealt with how Craig's team was associated with the Detroit site.
Loosely.
Where that was their home site, but they weren't us, and they weren't considered in like our A-B team scenario. They were just their own little entity there.
Yeah.
It's Clinton Township.
But yeah, and then Lizzie's just great.
Yeah.
But I could yap about Lizzie all day. But Vanessa, love Vanessa. The girl is obscenely hard to get a hold of. But when we finally were able to connect, hot damn, she really did a lot of work over the week. Like we couldn't have done anything we did in terms of improvement without her. And I just wish we did better. I wish that we had like the capacity to play with each other like a lot more before that. No single 3-hour practice was going to get us to where we needed to go and to figure out all the kinks that were wrong with like our team. But like in the end, I'm not mad at it. I've come back from tournaments fuming about some things before, but this one, that wasn't the case.
Yeah, I think we've played together at one where we were both fuming afterwards. So.
Yeah.
It's all about like expectations though, right? Because when there's not very much pressure on you, it's a lot easier to just kind of let the losses kind of roll off your back. Like I look at the difference between 2017, which was the most devastated I've ever been to lose, versus like lost way more games in Brisbane the next year, but I was playing, with the Oakley guys, so it didn't matter. We were just having a good time all the time, and that was like super fun. So if you have the right environment and everybody's just on the same page, like yeah, we're here to have a good time. We want to win some games if we can, but we're not like getting completely rolled, and we're having a good time. So let's just have a good time.
Yeah, and you have like the set expectation, right? But like when you have like a hybrid team scenario, like you already know, like one, you're not practicing with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like look at all of the teams that showed up. I would say all of them except for us have practiced in some capacity over the last year. So like we are already set up to not do well.
Yeah.
But you know, considering it could have been a lot worse, the games could have been a lot faster for people, but you know.
And so obviously I got to watch everything for the week. There was it seemingly just from watching the scoreboard and watching the limited camera angles, there was seemingly some improvement there. And actually some of your matches versus St. George were matches that like I was really looking forward to seeing. And I don't know if you got a chance to watch any of the games back or anything, but we most definitely, you had a cheering squad in the commentary booth.
Yeah, when you look at like the lower seeded teams, like you have like two areas of thought. Like you have like the upper tier teams that you really want to see duke it out, but then you have like the lower tier teams, and those are just as exciting because for teams that like haven't picked up wins against any of the better teams, like they have a chance and have some decent competition going against each other, and like those games are always really good. And shout out to Marcus. Like Marcus, like I've never like said Marcus is like a absolutely like novice player by any means, but like Marcus came and absolutely proved that he deserves to be like talked about next to anybody. Like he played his ass off, and he really helped that team like get to like where they got, and like they looked really promising for a really long time, and like they definitely capitalized against our team. And, I tried my ass off to keep Marcus at bay. There was one point where, like, I think it was just Marcus left alive, and he was at 3 lives with no shots. And I'm just like, I could have just pushed harder, and it probably would have been fine. But, you live and you learn. But Marcus played his ass off all week. And, like, you got to give it to that guy. Sadie also kicked ass.
Watching her play was awesome.
Like, not to throw shade at anybody, but like the fact I'm gonna, yeah. I mean, Sadie is like A-team potential, and like she proved it. And I don't think anyone should be overlooking Sadie going forward. And I think that they should just be as scared of Sadie as I was, because every time I saw her in the game, I was like, please, someone get her away from me, please.
There was a couple moments to see her. There a couple moments during the week where like we lost our shit. Like myself and Scythe, obviously, doing commentary, were just like, oh my god, what a run! Look at it go. It's cool to see. It's cool to see that player growth, right? Like if you can look at play, like you said, like watching Marcus, and Marcus isn't a laser tag novice, but he is a Space Marines novice. So seeing these players jump, in leaps and bounds from one tournament to the next is real healthy for our community as a whole.
Well, how much do the Europeans actually play Space Marines outside of like these tournaments? Because I don't feel like it's that much. Like I feel like Marcus really only gets, especially competitive games, only gets them once or twice a year coming to these tournaments. So the fact that he's able to make those improvements without getting like the weekly reps in like a highly competitive Space Marines environment.
There was a couple games in the practice night. If you go back and watch them.
I was there to see all of them. And they were very Jekyll and Hyde games, which he would be the first to admit. Comes out with a 13K one game and then gets knocked out like negative 220 the next game, and he just comes out where he's like, that sucked. Like, it happens.
So
we've all been there.
Ray, you join a very exclusive club of players that have both won a nationals and been 0-pointed at nationals. Myself, Than, you're in that list. DK, you in that list? Have you ever been 0 pointed?
He's never been 0 pointed.
Get the fuck out of here.
Back to NPC status.
But I think, like you said, like if you set some expectations going into the week, and nobody wants to get 0 pointed. Like the goal was to go and win some games, but you got to be pretty pleased with the growth that you guys had during the week.
Yeah, of course. And you as a player who was also a captain going into a situation where like you haven't been able to practice with your team from the last like viable scenario to even bring up was 2019, where I practiced with my team every week for over a year, maybe even twice a week sometimes. To that, you have to learn that like those two things are not the same. Like the expectations are not the same.
Right.
And it just makes you like a more adaptable player if you can just like be like you have solace in that, because it's not ever going to be the same. So how are you going to work with that? Like what are you going to do? Like how are we responding to certain scenarios after that? And we just played some laser tag. We had fun.
Perfect.
Well, and the thing is, you guys genuinely had a couple of opportunities where you could have taken points, and there were just individual moments that just did not go the way that they needed to in very specific small chunks of time.
Are we talking about all of the times my nukes got canceled? Because I fucking know, okay? 2 of those times I nuked in really dumb places for like meme reasons, and I was just like, oh no, the exact thing that I knew was gonna happen happened to me. Whose fault is it?
Loveland's whole arena is dumb places to nuke, though, right? Stupid.
Yeah, but mine were exceptionally dumb, and I also like miscalculated. I miscalculated one of my players being near Marcus, and then Marcus came on like a second earlier than I thought he was going to, and I was like, oh no.
Well, see, I was not going to actually specifically call you out about the nuke cancels. I was just going to say specific instances in small amounts of time that didn't go the way that you needed them to.
Well, I mean, those were them. I mean, I'm going to first self-critique, okay? Because like I beat myself up all week about the way that I was playing, but like I mean, there's a lot of reasons for that, but like the first and foremost is just like bad in-game decisions, and like that's all me.
Do you think that comes down in some? And I, maybe I'm throwing you a lifeline here, but does some of that come down to trying to do too much? Like if you're the captain or you're the leader of that team and you're playing with inexperienced players, I know for me, I try and I get distracted or maybe take on too much of like making sure everyone else is doing what they should be doing and not concentrating on what I should be doing. Did you find that during the week, or was it just
I would say overextending is definitely one of the issues that I kind of came up against. So I mean, I'm just gonna lay it out as like I saw it. So you got to take into account that Christine like couldn't really move up and down the ramps very well, so she was kind of allocated to the first floor a lot, and like that's just she couldn't do it. Like, and I had to work with what we could work with. Stu's mobility was really bad. Lizzie, was with Stu, so I, both of them, justly so, being at Resupply, like I couldn't put them anywhere else. Lucas, I mean, I'm just gonna say it, like in-game awareness wasn't very great. And then with me and Vanessa, it was just we were both trying to do our like set jobs, whether it be heavy or commander, and we couldn't do it because like all of the focus was on us. Because it wasn't anywhere else. Because if you think about it, like Stu and Lizzie were kicked downstairs most of the time. A little bit was already downstairs, and then Lucas was the only person that could draw the attention away from us, and they aren't worried about him, so they're focused solely on us. So we had all of the enemy 3 hits like looking at us like 100% of the time. And it's, people forget like a lot of the ways in which like the scouts really take the pressure off of like the 3 hits, not just in like firepower, but like in distraction power.
Yeah.
And I didn't have that. Like I really did. Like,
Yeah.
and that it's what I was working with. And I felt like there are a bunch of scenarios where like if I had scouts that were engaged more, that we could have done a lot more work in most areas, maybe stabilized a little bit better, but it just was what it was. And so, yeah, I mean, overextension was definitely an issue. And when I felt like I was doing way too much, there was no one to help me not do too much.
Yeah. I mean, I think you get that, especially on like, in arena. So like, I'll bring it back to Auckland. In arenas where you're trying to break elevated position from multiple sides, you have to have that distraction coming, and because splitting a heavy between two opposite like entry points is the way to break that heavy. If they can get in in a corner or up against the wall or something, it's much harder. So yeah, I feel you. Yeah. I've got a few questions here, but I'll let one of the boys ask something before I just take over the whole conversation.
I mean, don't you always take over the whole conversation?
I'm trying to be better.
I mean,
trying to be better.
Really? That's
no.
Odd.
Well, you just used up your question. Sorry.
I got the professional question. I got the for funsies question. Which one do you want?
Ooh, I'd like the professional question first.
Okay, so how do you feel right now with either the perception or the reality that like either Detroit or the East Coast in general is in kind of a rebuilding phase when it comes to laser tag? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I mean, just looking at it from like a Detroit standpoint, like we do not have the players playing that we used to. Like Micro and Shayla don't play anymore. Like Juan doesn't play anymore. Andy doesn't play anymore. Like basically my entire like nationals like championship team doesn't really play anymore. And Scythe obviously like was on the stream and not playing with us.
He kept going like, "Oh, I wish I'd have gone." We were like, "Well, you probably could have."
But look, that man is a father and has dealt with so much. And I'm not knocking anybody who needs to take a step back from anything for their own sanity. But yeah, so we just, I mean, and then talk about like, some B team players like Jailbird doesn't play anymore because he also had a kid. People are growing up. People are growing out of the game. And for those of us that like have time, we're still trying to play. We're playing very sparsely, but like it's still happening. But we're definitely in a phase where we like need new players to come and play, and we need to figure out like how we're doing that. That's effective and keeps like retains people, because retention has always been really bad. Like we'll get like a crock of like 10 new players and then one will stick around.
That's always that's always the rough part, is that retention of new players. Like Auckland has gotten this influx that was that was kind of this perfect storm of amazing for them in terms of like, was that Steve group like 10 or 12 that have been playing on essentially like a late night lunacy or whatever, like on Fridays and Saturdays, that had been doing that long enough and decided, oh yeah, no, cool, we'll try this more complex thing, and enjoyed it enough to want to stick around, and trying to make the environment welcoming enough to keep new players when they're making that step from maybe they're top of the heap on these public nights, and then they step into not being top of the heap in a more complex game type. Like that's always a interesting challenge to try to work through.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've I guess for us, we've I think because people's time can be spent doing so many different activities now that the thought process has changed from when we started. So like, yeah, maybe not for when like we started, but for newer players anyway, like coming in, they don't want to be in an environment where they get yelled at and cussed out and all that shit. We kind of, you know, dealt with it because
that was just how sports was in the 90s for me.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. And what else are you gonna do on a Tuesday night? Nothing. But now, you know, people have like the ability to just jump on and game online, which it didn't used to be that.
Where no one
easy.
ever gets yelled at.
But if you're gonna get yelled at least you get to sit down. But I don't know. I think the tolerance for negative bullshit has really dropped, and so I think, you know, creating an environment that people will like feel appreciated and feel liked and feel like they're part of something is where I think most centers need to get to. And to kind of tie it in for, you know, for Nats, for the most part, Loveland's site seems to be mostly like that. Which, you know, coupled with the fact that they hosted this year, I mean, explains why they've got such a massive intake of newer players that have actually stuck around. I suppose that's kind of, yeah, kind of where things need to get to.
Yeah, Loveland, Luke has just, I mean, everybody over there has just been doing so much. Like, shout out to Joe, Josiah, like all of them. For one, building up these players and then like getting them to stick around, but also like, God, bringing some good competition like Loveland B. Oh my God!
Can I ask you something about that?
For the squad team.
Yeah.
So I want to get your take on this because again, there's some really interesting comparisons that I kind of thought about, but. In your guys' lead up in 2019, where you guys hosted in Detroit, you had real top tier A and B team. Like your B team was, they ended up what, third or fourth?
Third, yeah.
So and it really, like this time around, Loveland A and Loveland B really reminded me of that. Did you see some kind of similarities there and how you guys kind of trained versus how they seemed like they were training?
So I can't speak to 2019 because 2019 was kind of weird. In the like inception stages, it was like I was on the B team, but I wasn't on the B team. And like, they didn't know if like Baden was going to play with them or not. So they like made me play with the A team against the B team. And it just ended up me being on the A team at the end of that as a seventh. And but I want to talk about 2013. We're gonna go back to my first nationals tournament.
All right.
Y'all also finished third that year too, right?
Yes. So
what was that?
Detroit.
Detroit. Yeah. So yeah, that was my first nationals tournament, which this was the first like internationals for all of those players. And they're just like camaraderie, like on their team, like the ways that they team build, like just the things that they did reminded me of my B team in 2013, the Wolfpack. And like, I love playing. And that was me, Killjoy, Juan, Jesse, Drexo was on that team. I feel like I'm
JB, right?
Huh? Oh, JB. Yeah, JB was also on that team. And like
JB was really good.
Yeah, and we would go out, we would like hang out, and we would like do like team building talks in person. We would walk the arena, do drills and stuff. Like, and we weren't like, it was just, I treated it like, you know, it was like a team sport. Like we were, you know, learning to be cool with each other so that we could be cool in the game. And it really did help. Like it really helped our communication. And much like Loveland B lost, I think Azra said, like every game they've ever played against Loveland A we lost every single game we ever played against our A team while we were practicing. And like, that wasn't like, oh, we can never beat them. That was, they are and were the best team at that tournament, and we were, going head to head with them, and it helped us beat every other team very easily. Like,
beat Craig's team, all that matters.
Right. And I shouldn't even say that, because like Craig's team really did like give it to us. Like, they beat us a bunch of times, and they beat us a bunch of times in practice. And when it came to confronting them in like, like the finals, like winning against them meant something. Like, playing against all these teams meant something. And, during practice, we beat our A team like fair and square, I think, one time. But like, that felt really good, because it proved that we like had the capacity to do that. And that's how I feel about Loveland's B team. Like, every single one of those kids is going somewhere. Like Astra, Strictfa, like all of them. Like that was just amazing, and just their passion going in and out of those games, and the way that they like, showed that they weren't just like a Sites B team, because Loveland, I feel like, has always kind of gotten like the short end of the stick when it comes to competition. All of them, even the A team, showed that like Loveland's not just the team to roll over anymore. Like, they're literally at the top of the totem pole now.
Yeah. And it's so cool now that like all the major sites like have something that they can hang their hat on now, because like everybody, even if it's in their home field, but all of the major US sites have had success at least in their home field, and almost everybody has had at least one really good away tournament. Maybe they didn't win, but they showed out and played really well. So that kind of like,
make more lights go boom.
If not parity, at least getting closer to that across sites is really cool to see.
Gun Ripper, that's a dope name.
And yeah, I remember from 2013, I was so happy for you all, and that we got to play you in the semifinals instead of Craig's team, because I didn't want to play them again.
Yeah,
True.
I love that team. Shout out to Flint. Shout out to Venom. Like, that was some competition. Like, you guys really brought it to us. Like, and we did our best. We honestly,
it was close from what I remember.
Yes, we lost because Killjoy didn't get his base, but I'm not salty about that.
That's such a Space Marines like attitude, like Space Marines player attitude, just to like this is one little thing that will eat at you forever.
Yeah, just like how in 2019 the B team only got past us because Nimitz clipped his gun and got missiled with 2 seconds left.
Yeah. Yeah, so little things happen, but like, that's just the nature of the game. Like, stuff just happens. Like, I remember in 2019 where like it was the last game against Brisbane, like I could just like hear some internal screaming happening, and I got my base at the last, like, I think minute and a half. That put us over the edge at the end.
That's awesome.
And I was just like, ooh, if I would have not gotten that base, it would have been real awkward.
Yeah, you caught some shit on the...
I think you still would have won the match, but it's like you would have lost the game, so you would have had to go check the score, so it would have been a lot of nervous energy.
So
yeah, no, the gun would have said that we lost the game, and I probably would have broken down crying, but I broke it down crying anyway because it said we won the game, which means we won the whole thing. So,
dude, there's nothing quite like that feeling, right? Of like at the end of that final game, all the like the tingles that kind of kick in. Just it's one of the best. Yeah, I got you feeling, didn't I?
Well, it's hard because like you remember the feeling, but you can't recapture it unless it happens. It's what makes it special, but also it's
ephemeral.
It's chasing that first high, which is why I died of a laser tag overdose.
Catch the dragon. What was your other question, DK?
Yeah.
Your less serious one.
So the other question is, following up on our discussion from last week, and as a Michigan native, which of the Great Lakes should we nuke first? Because this podcast has declared war on the Great Lakes.
Wait, what? Hold on, am I missing context? What the fuck are you talking about?
How did we get onto that conversation last week? That's a good question.
Because we talked about
we were
lots
talking about
of
like shitty
terrible
weather.
shit. Yeah, talked about
Yeah,
meth.
shitty weather in the Midwest and blaming the Great Lakes for it.
Yeah.
So and that's why we should nuke Lake
what-
Superior.
Yeah.
Whoa. Hold on. No, hold on. You know,
Hashtag
I
go
love
blue.
all of the lakes equally, but if we're being serious, it's Lake Erie because I got stuck on that bastard for like 20 hours on a boat one time, and you almost lost me. You almost all never met me.
What?
Yeah, okay. Quick little tiny story time. So my friend's dad bought a boat.
As you do.
And
Okay.
we went to go get the boat, and he's like, "Let's sail the boat back to where it's going to be docked."
Oh no.
Okay.
Great idea. It's perfect.
Yeah,
So
what are
we
you gonna
did
do?
that.
Drive the boat?
You buy a bike, you ride it home.
Yeah.
We got
what do
stuck.
you do?
So we got stuck on a sandbar in the middle of Lake Erie. I could see Cedar Point. Like I just wanted to swim there so I could stop being stuck on this boat. But we were stuck on this boat for like almost an entire day with barely any food, barely any I mean, we could drink the lake water, but that's how
Oh no.
you
No,
die.
do not drink the Lake Erie water, please.
But like yeah, no, that was a horrible experience. And I think if like I'm being selfish about it, Lake Erie's got to go. Like just get rid of it.
Oh yeah, that
You heard
one
it here
time
first.
we were stuck on a boat.
Well, and I mean, Cedar Point tried to kill Steve, so I mean, that's on
yeah.
Lake Erie. It's
Uh-huh.
the whole
I would
thing.
have
It's
swam
gotta
further
go.
out into the lake.
Lake Erie's causing all these problems.
Yeah.
Yeah, Detroit's about to be landlocked. Sorry, Lake Erie, you're done.
Speaking of Detroit, how have you guys played much tag at home? Have you gotten to play at all?
Not much, but we did play like a few weeks consecutively, like after Nats, which is normally stuff that happens. But, you know, I mean, going back to like building up a new player base, like, you know, you really got to think. And I'm not saying we need to just recruit all these like young kids or whatever, teenagers out of high school or that would just want to play laser tag, but like all of the players that still are active in some capacity, like just have lives going on.
Oh yeah, it happens.
And like we all have just like we have jobs and hobbies and partners and just other things going on, and like it's just not going to line up like all the time. And that's the biggest issue with it is just like we can never like get the numbers because someone's always doing something, and like that's fine, and it lines up sometimes and it's fun when we play, but to get that real like consistent like, you know, gears turning, like we really need people who are like one invested in going to the next thing.
Yeah.
And then, you know, getting people to actually like fill the gap so that we can have like practice games. And yeah, so it's been a struggle, but you know, when we do play, you know, it's fine, it's fun.
I hope because obviously with East Coast tournament just around the corner, sometime in July.
Cool breezes of July.
With East Coast just around the corner, obviously that historically has been the best place for Detroit and Syracuse, right, to kind of get together and play because it's relatively easy for you guys to kind of meet up. Do you think that's gonna bring anyone kind of out of the woodwork, or?
No.
Okay, next question.
So what? Bomb Lake?
Taking no more questions. No, I don't think. I mean, Syracuse always brings people like, you know, to travel, but like if Nats didn't bring anyone out of retirement, an East Coast isn't bringing someone out of retirement.
Fair.
You know, like Micro's very much done, and that's fine. You know, we still love Micro. Like Juan's done, Andy's done, like Jer Bear's done. Like all these people are just done. Like nothing's bringing them back. So it's just picking up new people, trying to figure it out. Like, you know, I think they got like a Syracuse member night off the ground where we had a bunch of people from our site go. I couldn't go, but
a couple weeks
ago,
ago,
that'll be nice to keep doing.
Like you say, it's kind of like these events kind of turn into like summer camp almost. Or if we like, yeah, I've got a bunch of friends, my camp friends, that we see once a year. So
I can't help it that my girlfriend lives in Canada. That's why you've never met her.
Yeah,
She's a model.
She's a model.
No, I told you guys, I'm a world sports champion. I'm the best. It's in a super cool sport.
We got sponsored by Liquid Death.
Yeah, we did. Shout out Liquid Death. Nah, they don't sponsor this podcast. Not yet, anyway.
They don't get a shout out.
I guess the other thing that has kind of, I mean, I say this as a relatively new player, but like disc golf is kind of where a lot of old timers
Ruined
kind of
Laserforce.
yeah. No.
Into real facts right now.
Absolutely decimated our player base. Everyone's playing disc golf and they're not playing laser tag. Whose fault is that? It's called being an old person.
Yes, it is.
Wanting to be outside, touching grass, mental health.
Yuck.
It's all
Vitamin D.
bullshit.
Not in my toxic environment.
This is why we had to get Ray on, because she will spit the facts when the rest of us are too cowardly to speak out.
I mean,
DK, what's the motto?
don't play disc golf.
It's not Laserforce, it's masturbation.
It's not Space Marines, it's just masturbation.
Whatever.
I mean,
It's
we've
not
got a
what
full
we're playing.
trophy now. Have you seen the Dick Gold Memorial Trophy for the LFDGA, Laserforce Disc Golf Association?
Oh my god.
Yeah, so
It is larger than any of the trophies on my desk, I will tell you that.
yeah, it just so happened, I found it at the dump shop. It was great.
Shocking.
Oh,
Shocking that you found it at the dump shop.
I have
That's
such
great.
a fat boy story to tell you guys. I might as well tell it now. It's not Laserforce related, but I'm going to tell the story.
Suspense.
I went down, as oft I do, I went down the dump shop this week, and I'd gone just after lunch. I had myself a bit of barbecue pork. It was delicious. Ate my barbecue pork, went down the dump shop, got in there. The guy was like, "Oh, hey, I've got a Xbox controller if you want it." He gave it to me. Turn around, check the back. It's all like corroded and shit. I'm like, "Oh, nah, that's cool. Don't need that one. It's all fucked up." Gave it back to him. Having a look around the store, get a text, whip my phone out, and on the screen, I noticed what looked to be some barbecue pork. And so Fat Boy Steve was like, "Ooh, I'll take that." Scooped it off in the mouth. Not barbecue pork. Turns out it was a massive amount of corroded battery acid that I just stuck in my mouth.
Steve!
Oh, dude. And so,
No!
and I was like, oh no, I fucked up.
And that's how we died.
Yeah.
Oh
I'm so lucky
God.
I didn't swallow that shit, because oh my god, I had a brief moment of
On this episode of Misadventures of Steve-O, what are we going to suggest that's going to kill us this time?
I think my
Wow.
gallbladder grew back.
But I was like, oh, am I too polite to start spitting on the floor? No, I'm not. So I start spitting all over the floor, and then I
The old hot tour.
the old hot tour. Moral of the story, it's not always barbecue pork. That's the moral of that story. It
I
was
got pork right here.
pork. That's a big baby.
Precious.
Yeah, that's Betty.
That's Betty. Oh, Betty
Good old
White.
Betty.
Betty White. We love her.
We do love her. Yeah.
I can hear Betty purring into the mic right now.
No, you can hear Malcolm purring into the mic right now.
That's a great trick, Betty. Good job.
Who to bring it back to a little bit of lasers, and we'll maybe look towards the future. But who did you feel was kind of your standout from Nats this year?
Like singular player?
Yeah, or standouts. If you had a couple
God.
shoutouts.
Let me roll through this real quick. Standouts. I mean, I could just gloat about like Loveland Day, but I won't. They know what they did.
They know what they did.
They've
Old
been
heads,
glazed.
we don't need shout outs.
They've been glazed enough by like both our podcast and their podcast. So, you know.
Oh, well, sorry. Real quick sidebar conversation before I answer the question.
Yeah.
Shout out to Luke getting engaged.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out pretty lady.
Got a girlfriend.
He's got a future wife.
Future wifey.
I want to really... I shouldn't do this.
But you're gonna.
I really shouldn't do this.
But you're gonna.
Controversy.
For as much shit and flack that I gave him the entire time he was playing, Beans really fucking literally Goku momented a lot of shit in that tournament to be able to play. And I respect the shit out of that.
Yeah.
I think Syracuse did a lot better than they were slotted to, despite not having Beans at full capacity. And I'm giving them some props because I love them boys. And yeah, as much as I would have been devastated if Beans' stupid ass got hurt more, you can't say that the guy's not dedicated to the game.
Huge. There was no
You're
way
so
he
mad.
was
You kept trying to get me to say that Beans shouldn't be allowed to play. You're like DK, shouldn't Beans not be allowed to play? I'm like,
yeah, it's over with now.
If it were me, I'd probably still play, so I'm not going to tell him no.
It's over with now, and no one can ever tell me that I'm not a good friend because I was worried about Bean's safety the entire time.
Yeah, as you should be.
Entire time.
It's not.
But I digress. If I'm really going to put the who really impressed me the entire tournament, I gotta say James Strickfa from Loveland B.
Solid answer.
That they just gave it to us, gave it to everybody, and had a smile on their face the entire time. And there are points where they were just goofing with the A team and still keeping the pace. And they're going to be really good. Everyone on Loveland B showed so much potential. Azra's just team leading abilities were next level. She was always keeping an eye on everybody, playing ammo and just trying to direct their team as best that they could. And White Ninja, the Rook, Pollux, all of them, just phenomenal teamwork the entire time. Even when they buckled and lost games, you just can't find that anywhere else. And I'll say it, I'll scream it from the rooftops. B team energy is so much better than A team energy, because the A team has this aura about them that they know that they're good. They know that they have a decent chance, but the B team, has only ever lost to their A team, and they have something to prove. But in doing that, it brings out a different type of player, and it really drives them to succeed. Anytime they were playing us, or they were playing St. George or Syracuse, they just showed us why they were worthy of being there. I mean, a 6-4 record isn't great, but it still got them in 4th place.
Yeah,
they knock LAPD down there, and they were slotted to do a lot better than they did.
Yeah,
they were definitively better than all the teams that they finished ahead of. They left very little doubt that was where they belonged, and it did in a lot of ways remind me of that 2013 team that you were on. And I think the Strickfa JB comparison would be pretty apt, because I remember thinking that about JB too. I'm just it's hard to beat this guy. He just scores so many points.
Yeah. And so it was just really nice seeing them. And, Azra and James are my babies. Like, you know, I would come out and like Azra would be in her feelings and like I'm talking to her and I'm like, you know, making sure that she's good and like, you know, assuring her that they're doing so good. Doing so good. And it's such a feat to just like perform in your own arena and like, you know, people get into their heads that like, oh well, it's our home site, you know, we need to like we obviously are gonna win.
Yeah. No.
Not the case. You're playing with people who've been playing together for years and you're never gonna get that level of teamwork in 1 year of playing with each other. Like you get that over years of competition, which they don't have.
Yeah, you can't train time.
And they still did fine, but they never let it get to them. They never let losing to the better teams get to them. They just moved forward, and like it was just awesome. So
they managed to flex and bend without breaking, which was my biggest concern from going in. Because it's the same that I would say about any team that is young, inexperienced, a B team going into their first competition. That's a lot of pressure, but they handled it. They did what they had to do. So
maybe the stigma as well. That stigma of like being from the Loveland site, where you know,
maybe.
I think that's been put to rest though after this tournament.
Yeah, like I said, there's nobody who's like the easy pickings in the U.S. tournament scene. Like, but there are going to be some players in some sites that are better in some arenas than others. But it's like you can't look at any of the sites now that have any experience behind them and be like, oh, well, that's we can just overlook them. They're a bunch of chumps. Like everybody has good players. Everybody can send a really good squad, and anybody is a threat to like at least do well, if not win, in other people's arenas as well.
Yeah. But yeah, love Loveland B, love all of them. I really hope to see a lot of them travel, you know, going forward.
Hopefully.
Hopefully we'll see some of them in January in Syracuse.
I'm hoping.
Are you playing? Are you going to ECT?
Oh, am I going?
Yeah.
Yeah, I plan to.
Awesome.
I really like this format. I mean, I think I had the most fun I've ever had playing in that 20. What was it, DK? When was the meme team tournament? Was it 2020? Like right when COVID killed all of us?
The meme team? I think that might have been the year before. I was not there for that one, but I know when you're talking about. I think that was. It was either right.
It was the January before the world went to hell. Yeah.
Okay, so it was January 2020. Yeah. Because it was after the 2019 Nats.
Yeah, and you weren't there for that one. Yeah.
So it had to have been.
But yeah, I really enjoy these kinds of like niche formats that we play. It definitely makes it a more fun like environment. And like you know, that tournament, like I bonded with like some of my best friends now, like Aiden, Erwin, like Zev, Dylan. Like I wouldn't have the relationship I have with them if it wasn't for that tournament. And like that's just from playing games and memeing with each other. Like it was just fun to be around like-minded people that were all just like, you know, there to hang out.
And it's funny, that was like not considered to be like a highly ranked team going into that tournament. But you look at that team now, it's like that's a really good team. There's a lot of really good players on that team.
Yeah.
That's such a testament as well to why people should travel to tournaments. And you don't really get it unless you've done it. But I think the more you can kind of be around your peers who, you know, for the most part, have very similar interests, and yeah, you really get that like summer camp vibe from going to these things. So I implore any new players that haven't traveled to a tournament, get out there and travel to a tournament. It's so much fun, and as long as you're not a dickhead, you'll have a good time.
And this ECT, I think, will be really fun. I think it'll be like a good, pretty balanced tournament. It'll have good competitive games, but I don't think anybody's going to be taking it like so serious that they clamp down on other people's fun.
Yeah, and Syracuse is a really fun, like I feel neutral arena for a lot of people because it takes away a lot of like the stress, and I'll say this in terms of like arena design, like the stress of not having to like look up, look through silly windows. A lot of the times it's just 6-foot walls. No one has to like crouch for long periods of time. It's like good on the shoes, you know, with the AstroTurf in there. and it's just a really good like stable way for everybody to be kind of like equalized in terms of like arena movement. And I like when people who haven't played in anywhere other than their arena come to experience Syracuse, because it's a completely different world. Like,
valid.
Yeah.
Because Loveland can be like kind of terrifying, honestly. Like if you lose that early trade and you lose control of third floor immediately, like it wrecks your whole game practically.
It's my least
so,
favorite
that arena is so unforgiving. Like I hate it.
Yeah, same.
I like it, but I hate it. Like
I don't like it.
That arena has grown on me. I mean, I've made this comment to a number of people though that I don't think it's ever going to be one of my favorite arenas, but it definitely has grown on me from my perception of it when I first played it. And that's true for Detroit also. Like Detroit also grew on me by 2019. I think I really came to appreciate some of the subtleties of the field, and it's very different, but it is still interesting.
It seems...
shout out to Laser Tag of Carmichael. Best arena NA. Like no
I don't know.
Yeah.
Brisbane. It's Brisbane for me.
No, he said in North America.
Oh, North America. I missed that.
Yeah. No. There's definitely. Yeah. I still miss our home arena.
It was pretty great.
Yeah, crying shame. It's a crying shame. Is what it is.
On so many levels.
Just a real quick.
Thanks for the shout out, Ray.
Actually, I'm not going to bring that up. What else was I gonna say? It's fine.
You're watching Steve-O's brain melt down in real time.
the second coffee is already worn off, but that's okay.
It means we must be coming to the end of the podcast then.
I'm not sideways yet, so I don't have to poop. Right. I did want to before we skedaddle. Have you given any thoughts, Reya, about Nats 2025?
I always have good intentions of going. But overseas tournaments are just really hard to like manage for me in terms of, I share custody of my dogs with my ex, and I I'm working on my dissertation, and I work full time, and now I'm seeing somebody else. It's just like there's just a lot of factors that I can't really like dedicate myself to a trip like that. But it always depends on like the money too.
Yeah.
I really want to go. I mean, considering it's like the last time we're going to be able to play like in the Brisbane arena like at all, it'll be a nice like send off for them, and I just feel like it should be a rite of passage. Like I should at least go one time. And going to Australia seems kind of sick, so
it is.
I'm definitely going to do my best to get there, but I can never just say yes. I'm going to.
It's kind of like our Mecca, right? It's our holy land. It's very disrespectful, but
I don't care if it's disrespectful. That's fucking facts. Why is your religion more cool than ours? Just because you have more people who follow it.
Right. And I mean, Brisbane holds a lot of like symbolic meaning too, because like, for the longest time, Rusty's whole team like was the team to beat. Like they were unbeatable, they were gods, and we have proven time and time again that that's not the case anymore. And
well, by time and time again, you mean like twice?
Twice, yeah.
Okay, but still, like they're not showing up to places. Like so, going to them and then hopefully like having a team that can finally like overturn them in their own arena just seems like something all of you youngins want to do. I'm not saying that I'm going to be able to do it, but do I have faith that like Loveland and like even Cayman, Aiden, even you, DK, even your old ass.
Am I one of the kids, even though I'm 6 years old?
You're honorary. You're an honorary child.
I'm young at heart.
The skill is up there to be able to do that. Like, you beat them like in New Zealand, and like we just kind of like adjacently consider like overseas like arenas at some like pillar that we can't like climb on. And so doing that, it meant a lot, like especially a team winning overseas, like it's unheard of, like in the last decade. So
unless you're from this side of the pond.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going
a northern hemisphere team going to the southern hemisphere.
There we go.
Yes. So going to Brisbane and like potentially beating them in their own arena is like, that's it. And this is the last time we're going to be able to do that.
Well, it's the last time we're going to be able to do it in this arena. I have to think that there's some sort of relocation plan that they're working on.
They're still developing the product. They're going to have a place to showcase it. So
At this point, we don't really know. Like, there's been no like official. Why am I getting?
Why are you echoing?
I don't know.
That was weird.
That was weird. Anyway, yeah, there's no like, we don't even know if they're going. You know, there's been nothing.
No, I mean nothing's guaranteed, but that's the assumption that we're operating on.
That's right. But
but you're right, Reya. That is the Everest shot. Is like, okay, people have beaten Brisbane in their home arena, beaten them in a neutral arena, but can anyone beat them in their home arena like that? That is the true like high level obstacle to get over, and maybe it'll be conquered, maybe not. But either way, it's like it's still going to be really fun. And playing in Brisbane is an amazing experience, and I agree, you should experience it at least once.
Yeah. I'm excited. Closer than that. So we've still got ages to go. We haven't finished milking this year for all it's worth yet. But I know closer to the time we'll have Rusty on. Hopefully at least 2 or 3 more times between now and Nats. Talking about potential things that are in the works, and that's all I'll kind of say on that. But yeah, I know that they are. They've got eyes on. So yeah, it's gonna be a good tournament. I think they're really looking forward to it. I really hope that you are able to make the trip out, because I don't think we've hung out. When was the last time we hung out? Oh, in Loveland at the
West Coast.
West Coast. Yeah. So I think we're overdue.
Yeah, we are overdue.
Yeah. Do you guys have anything else you want to touch on? Ray, do you have anything you wanted to bring up before we sign off for the day?
Remember to backtrack, kitten.
I appreciate you coming on and spending some time with us, because I love talking to you. So
thank you for having me.
Anytime you want to come and have a yarn, we'll do it. We'll set something out. I know the boss here, so I think I'm pretty confident I can swing it.
Put in a good word or two.
That's right. Right. This coming week. I'm off to try and sell the local Rotary Club on installing my disc golf course. We've got that coming up this week.
Good luck with that.
Oh, dude, it's looking positive. I'll probably leave out the part where I recently consumed battery acid. They might not want to associate.
Might affect your credibility.
Yeah,
probably a good idea. Yeah,
fucking weird hippie bushman guy. Well, hopefully we'll be back on with some more streaming. I've had my lovely wife Dan on this week. Over the last couple of weeks, actually doing some streaming with me, so it's been really fun. But next week, I think we're there's no reason. I don't see any reasons why we don't have shows coming up. So keep your eyes peeled on the Resupply channel here. We always appreciate you guys hanging out with us. But for this week, I've been Guy Next Door.
I've been DK.
I've been Than.
And I'm Reya. Yay!
Don't worry, we'll edit and post. Always remember to backtrack, kids. We will see you next time. Ka kite anō.
Nuke Lake Erie!
I've been throwing daggers in the Keep me